Hey everyone, just wanted to let y'all know that my physical copy of my graphic novel is now available to purchase on Amazon. There's also the ebook form, but it's finally done. I'm excited. Finally got the physical copy ready to go. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave the links down in the descriptions, alright? Other than that, I hope you enjoy the video. Bye. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Wicked Art. It is Wicked here, and I just finished up a two-page spread that I've been recording myself doing. I kind of figured I would talk about it a little bit. Two-page spreads are supposed to be like these big, blown-out, images that really draw the reader's attention. So I really wanted to really kind of showcase the city of Volford. This is from my graphic novel. This is from chapter 2, which chapter 1 is out. But I'm working on chapter 2 right now. And I really wanted to kind of showcase, the city of Volford in a way that captured, the affluent, high society areas mixed with kind of the downtrodden or the poor. So, and kind of showcase some of the creatures a little bit more, just so you get more interest in the world and kind of go, oh, I want to see that. So basically, what I'm doing with this front image, I wanted it to be showing some depth. So I moved them up really close, just covered them in a shadow, erased the highlights, and then I put a Gaussian blur on it to fade them out. That way your focus is drawn to the background. So basically what I'm doing is after all the line work, I'm just kind of going in and creating a brand new layer. And then I go in and just add color to that, right? Just a color flat layer. So there's no details as far as shadows and things like that yet. I'm really just trying to establish. Now, in order to get these things with like this pirate right here, um, in order to get that two-tone look of like where the area is white compared to the other, I just simply went in and just used a soft round brush. That way the edge is not so hard when you're doing it. Um, and that kind of allows for like an easy blend. You could also use the airbrush too, but then you run the risk of it not completely being as bright as you want. And if you notice in the video, every so often you'll see it like switching back because I want to keep my colors consistent. So I'm going to previous pages that I worked on and using those colors for things like the police uniforms, the background of the city, and things like that. So that's basically all I'm doing now is I'm just really just getting up that color base flat. Um, and then like I did with that image that's kind of blurred in the front, it's a whole separate layer by itself. So what I'm coloring in right now is what everything that's on my lines layer. Usually everything that's on what I call my lines layer um, is everything that's in the foreground, like people, with the carts, this cow-like creature that they use for toting their, because it's kind of like a steampunk fantasy um, sci-fi type story. So, but this is one of the creatures they use for pulling carriages and things around town. Um, but yeah, so pretty much all that stuff gets colored first on the lines layer. So all I do is just add a layer underneath it and then just call it color. I'm able to keep track of that way. If you want, you could say lines layer color to make it easier. But I'm just trying to to get in there and fill in your basic almost kind of, because the Maorans, who are these human-like creatures, or I should say creatures, but people, their technology has been limited by the empire that rules over them, the Alfmerians. So they've kind of reverted to kind of an advanced steampunk type society. That's the extent to which the empire allows them to develop their technology. They're not allowed to have weapons, things like that. It's real oppressive. But I tried to keep things Victorian looking in that sense. So basically what I'm doing now is I went to the background lines layer and just added a new layer under that and just chose colors again. And I'm trying to keep some consistency. So like I said, you'll see I'm switching back from another page where I have the city colors. So I'm sticking again with one of those steampunk Victorian, brick colors. I did change some things around just I don't want it to be too flat of all being the same color, you know. So I made sure I went in and had alternating buildings being different colors. That way it keeps some visual interest when you're looking around. Because if I had just done everything red brick all the way down the line, it's a little bit boring. At least just in my opinion, anyway. Um, yeah, it's real challenging to do these two paste breaks. You can see the level and amount of detail that I had to go into to just do all something as simple as buildings and things like that. But I want to make it eye catching enough because this is something that the readers are probably going to spend maybe 30 seconds on. Depending on how fast they read. We'll say 5 minutes. But 5 minutes, and how many are actually going to stop and appreciate the artwork or anything like that. So it's a real big risk, and sometimes putting whatever level of details and stuff that you put in there can really pay off. But that's really my goal is I want you to kind of stop and go, oh, cool, look at that, or the buildings are shaped this way, like really kind of commit to memory as to what's going on. And that's why in the pictures and the frames that I've singled out, the things I have in the background are more on like the slum side of town, so they're more like alleyways and stuff like that, a little bit more decrepit, where the big piece in the background is more of the highfalutin side of town. So now I'm getting into where I'm putting the details in the shadows. So basically all I did was just kind of go in and drop a full paint bucket black over the top of it. And then, because I used to just kind of do it myself by hand, but I found that working with the negative, subtracting from what I have, so I put it to 50% and just go into that black and just kind of erase out the spots where the lights are going to be. So depending on the mood or what it is I'm trying to create, like this guy is looming over this little boy and his mother he just killed. Things with like this lady. I won't go into details as to what it is that has happened to her, but you know, after getting the shadow subtraction and the highlights out, showcasing what parts of the face are going to be lit and things like that, the two panels together go together. So the police, or what they call them, the constabularies, are they use these electric night sticks. So they glow. So I wanted to put that glow. So basically, all I did was just kind of highlight it, the areas that weren't colored in, and just use an airbrush and just kind of pose that red color because the nightsticks that they use are kind of a pinkish red hue when it glows. Almost think of it kind of like a lightsaber, but they just run electricity on it. Um, so what I wanted to do is show some depth with that too. So I just kind of take that front area with all the electricity and stuff running through this nightstick and fade it and make it show some distance. So now I'm doing the same exact thing to the background. Again, this method of doing it, of erasing out, it's cool and everything, especially on characters. But it is very time consuming on these backgrounds and stuff like this. Like I think total, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm the fastest artist in the world, but I think total it took about 6 hours to do. Yeah, to do this whole spread, it took about 6 hours to do. So I mean, you really have to commit your time. If there's just depends on the level of detail. There's some comic books and graphic novels that you read that they have little to no detail in the background. It's more of like a fade out, like things like that. And there are certain pieces that I do color that way. It's just picking and choosing what things I want to catch the reader's eye. So, for instance, on this particular piece, I really wanted to showcase the city, or at least a part of the city. So I had to put in that detail. And maybe on another just single page, when somebody's standing there talking, maybe in the background I have a very generic wall with a barrel or something like that. So that's just what I'm doing now. I'm continuing to just kind of going in and erase out the shadow to bring in the light of whatever it is that is being shown. Um, the other thing I want to do was because it's daytime. Usually I don't do this, but again on a scene like this, it's something that I wanted to do. When I get done erasing out everything, I kind of create a new layer and want to kind of make the sunlight more prevalent in those areas where it's at. So it's not just a flat base color. It all has the same general reflection of what it looks like when the sunlight is hitting it. So you'll see that later on. But yeah, it's very time consuming. Again, depending on the level of quality that you're going for. I know a lot of people want to just kind of crank stuff out and be done in a week. And there's nothing against that. Like if you like me, I hate I shouldn't say hate, I dislike reading black and white comics, just from the standpoint that I personally don't care for it, just because I like color, I like vibrancy, I like those things being in there. So basically, what I was trying to do was just get that all done, and it worked out okay.